and we can begin.
Mhm. Let me know when you can see the screen.
I can see it.
Yeah? Are you sure?
Mhm.
Are you
Yes,
sure
sir.
you want to start?
Yeah, I'm
Pretty
ready.
sure. Yeah. Okay. You only exercise a little bit, warm up. It's only 10 to 15 minutes presentation for myself, right? No
That's
questions,
right.
nothing.
No,
Okay.
no, no. Now, I might have some questions for you at the end, but Christian,
Are you
I'm
sure you
gonna
don't want questions?
oh, just a couple. Uh, but I'm gonna write some feedback in the chat while you're speaking, but please ignore that. Don't look at the chat
No, I'm not going to ignore it. That's going to
because
distract me throughout the
I don't
presentation.
want it to
But
distract you. All right. So
okay, let's start then. Great. Well, today we're going to talk about an interesting topic that is related to two different concepts, that is culture and technology. We know that technology has developed in such a way and a rapidly way throughout the history, transforming the way people live, work, communicate, and even in the way they interact with the world. From simple inventions such as the wheel and the press or the printing press to the most modern innovations that we have that are internet and also the artificial intelligence and smartphones. These technological advancements have continuously changed and shaped human society. These developments have brought significant changes in different and in a variety of areas like education, healthcare, transportation, communication, and even entertainment, making aspects of our life more efficient and maybe we can consider a little bit more accessible. However, not everything's good. Technology has also created some challenges, and maybe we can consider a little bit of problems that include social changes, privacy concerns, and also dependence. Because we have to know that people in our days, they depend on technology and they depend on technology tools. And as technology continues to evolve and to increase, its impact on society becomes increasingly complex, influencing in a lot of areas like cultures and also in everyday's life. And in positive and also in negative ways. And that's the reason a question popped out to my head that is, has technology connected cultures around the world, or has it reduced cultural diversity? A really interesting question that we're going to go throughout this presentation. But before that, I would like to mention a quote by a famous theorist and philosopher, Marshall McLuhan, that said, "We shape our tools, and thereafter our tools shape us." And relating this with the concept of technology is that we maybe created technology, we created all the technological tools, but nowadays these technological tools are shaping us, how we behave, and how our cultures are being managed or changed. Great. But before starting, we need to know two concepts: culture and technology. So let's go on to know what is the definition of culture and the definition of technology so that we can understand and relate them. Let's start with culture. Well, we have to understand that culture is basically a set of shared, as you can see here, traditions, beliefs, values, and behaviors that help people or that shape the way people live, the way they interact, the way they understand the entire world. And we know that it's influenced by their families and society and types of communication they have. We know that understanding culture can help us understand this connection within a community. So this is the first approach we have to culture, understanding what it is. And we have to know that culture is learned and is passed from one generation to another through family, through education, language, and maybe social interactions. Okay? So that's culture. Now let's talk about a little bit about technological development. We have to know that technological development is basically a process of creating, improving, advancing, and innovating. And in this case, is basically innovating, creating, improving, advancing tools, systems, technologies with one specific approach or with one specific purpose, that is to solve problems. Okay? But in many cases, we can note that this technological development increases efficiency and it also helps to improve the quality of people's life. Okay, so that's the main purpose of a technological development, increasing or improving people's quality of life. Okay, now we start with the idea of how do we connect these two concepts? How is it possible that culture can be connected with technology? And the first thing that I would like to say is that technology changes how people communicate, live, learn, work, and interact. And now I'm going to go talking about each one of these things. For example, how communication changed. Over the time, we know that the way people communicate, well, really changed from writing a letter in the past. And now we have messages, and even we can have a face-to-face conversation throughout a Zoom app. So communication changed a lot. How people live, this changed in an awesome way because now people have the opportunity or they have access to, for example, light. They have the opportunity to have in their kitchen an oven or a different type of appliances that they can use that they didn't have in the past. They have a lot of commodities that they can use. So it's easier for them to live. Learn. Obviously, learning is something that changed. I can't say that it increased, but it changed. In the past, learning was through different types of equipment. You had only a notebook, you had a pen and a book, and you had to learn throughout this. Uh, but now you have computers, you have laptops, you have cell phones, and all of these equipments, all of these tools helped students learn in a different way. But also, we have access to more information. So this means that people, as they have access to more information, they have the opportunity to learn different things from different cultures at the same time, only with their computers and having internet at home. Okay. And work, well, work has changed also a lot because now people have the opportunity at work to use different tools. For example, in the past, in the process of planting and harvesting, they did it by hand. But now they have specific machines that do this type of activity, do these jobs for them. So it has changed. And as we know that culture was formed or transmitted throughout communication, throughout these values from generation to generation. So if technology appears, then people are going to get used to these new tools, to this new technology, and this is going to be passed from one generation to another, changing at the same time the culture of the people. Okay? So let's talk about the different maybe inventions or innovations throughout time. Okay? First, we had the press. Okay, we have the printing press in which if something happened, this was a way to inform. It's like the newspaper. So what happened in back in those days? People when something happened, well, first this information had to go to the press, and then they had to organize this information, and then they had to print it, and then in the next day they had the opportunity to deliver. So this was a simple process of communication and people letting people know about the news. But then the television appeared. And this was maybe not an easier way to communicate or transmit a news or information, but it had a good benefit. One, it was that it was like more entertainment for the people. And the second benefit of a television, it was that it was like a bulk advertisement for everyone. A lot of people were able to watch the news at the same time. So they didn't have to deliver or do a process of sending and delivering as the newspaper. So it saved a little bit of time and it gave the people more entertainment. Okay? But then internet appeared. And with internet, we had social media, we had YouTube and different apps that gave the information at the same time it happened. So if an accident happened, people had the opportunity to see what happened like seconds after the accident. And not only few people, the entire world. It was not only local, not or in a nation, it's global. And so information could travel all around the world. And then the AI appeared. And with AI, well, now there's a huge problem because with clone voicing, that is one of the uses of AI, someone can clone a voice and they can make up news. So there's no reliable information. So we have this huge timeline that maybe it's like huge in the characteristics of each one, but it was in a short time. So we have this short timeline about how communication, in short words, changed. But to give a more specific example, I want to talk about my country, Ecuador, and how it changed. And we have three specific aspects that I would like to talk about that are communications, traditions, and educations at the same time. With the with internet and all the apps that internet allows us to use, people in Ecuador have access to other countries and other cultures. So they have this huge opportunity to learn and know from other cultures and what are they doing and how a specific celebration is in one part of Africa or in North America or in Asia. And also, we have the opportunity to share culture to other countries, to let other countries know what we are doing. But then we also have a downside in this part. That is that our youth are trying to copy some of those cultures, and maybe not only the cultures, maybe they're only trends from other countries. And maybe this idea of a trend in another country being practiced so many times and by so many people in our country, it's becoming a culture or it's becoming cultural. So some trends are becoming cultural. So that's a problem, or it's like something in favor of our traditions, but it's also something that goes against our traditions thanks to communication. And now let's talk about a little bit about education. Education in our country has increased a lot thanks to technology and to internet and to the artificial intelligence. Yeah, it's awesome how it has changed because now our kids have the opportunity to learn from all the information around the world from papers, researchers, not only from books that an Ecuadorian has wrote, but also from information around the world. But we have a bad thing about education and the advancement of technology, and is that our kids also have access to pornography. They have access to maybe some type of pages that are not allowed by people of their age. And also, they have problems with maybe extortions or things like that that are not a good thing and that it's not good for our kids to learn or go into. So, to answer the question that I said at the beginning, maybe I have first to accept that technology has connected cultures around the world by improving communication, understanding, and access to a broad information. We have that. But also, we have to add the idea that technology has reduced cultural diversity because now global trends and social media are trying to make these trends more similar to all cultures. And as a result, we have that technology is both connecting cultures and influencing cultural diversity by spreading global ideas, while is also changing local tradition and identities that may be for the rest of their lives. Thanks for that, and I hope that the question was answered and you understood what's the difference and how technology has impact in our culture. I hope it was 15 minutes at least. Sorry if it was less.